Hi, I'm Grady Culhane with the CapeCod.com News Center, and welcome to Sunday Journal. I'm joined today by a special guest from the Cape Symphony. Do you mind introducing yourself for our listeners?
Yeah, thanks, Grady. My name is Michael Albaugh. I'm the executive director of the Cape Symphony, and it's excited to be here with you today.
Awesome. It's great to have you in the studio.
Hey,
It's been
thank you.
a while since we spoke, but
Yes, sir.
it's great to see you again.
Thank you.
So we have a lot to talk about with the Cape Symphony as of late. We wanted to talk a lot more about some of the shows that are upcoming for the busy summer season, but as well we have the elephant in the room. Jung-Ho, the artistic director and conductor for the Cape Symphony, is going to be departing at the end of the season. Wanted to ask a quick comment from you. I know you've known him well, going to stay in contact, you've mentioned. Do you mind talking a little bit more about how the symphony feels going forward?
Yeah, I would say that for after 17 wonderful seasons with Jung-Ho as our leader, it's bittersweet. It's sad. And we're going to do what we can to keep this great symphony alive. We're a good organization. We're in a great position, and we're very excited about our future, but we wish him well. And I think what's important is we still have him for 3 more concerts, and we are going to do everything we can to make sure that we celebrate in style.
That is good to know. Speaking of those concerts, we just wanted to jump in with some of what's going to be upcoming at the 4th of July concert. We have Star Wars, and we also have the performance at the National Seashore down where I live in East Camp.
Yeah.
We're going to go through each of those in turn. First things first, I did want to talk about the, as with Jung-Ho leaving, the general game plan, though, which was that there's going to be some rotating guest conductors. Do you mind kind of talking a little bit more about what we can expect going forward for the rest of the year?
Sure. Well, we're not going to rush this decision as we move forward, and those are impossible shoes to fill. So without having to just try to, plug and play, we figured let's take our time as an institution and let's work with our musicians. We have a very talented core of wonderful orchestra musicians, and we've already started some conversations with them about where we go for our future. And we want to open this up as opportunities for the community to be involved. And it's their orchestra, it's our orchestra, and any chance that we can to open the dialogue and take our time. So we're looking at possibly spending a year identifying candidates, and then using next season to actually bring candidates in so they can work with our community, work with programming, work with putting their own concert together, and then marketing an entire season as hopefully opportunistic future hopefuls to lead this great symphony forward. And so it's an exciting opportunity. It's, like I said, bittersweet is the word, because we're sad, to be losing such an icon, and knowing that those are extremely large shoes to fill. We're going to do what we can, and hopefully as a community do it together.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. Sounds like there's a lot of season of a wide variety upcoming too, though.
Yeah,
voices.
well, Jung-Ho has curated a wonderful program for us, and I think he's really, outdone himself yet once again. And so the key for us is to bring in some wonderful people to help replace it. And so we have, I can say that with some confidence, we have conductors ready to go. Mm-hmm. I'm still in the contractual phase with a number of them, but in September we'll be kicking off our season with Farhad Hudiev, who leads the orchestra program at the University of Texas in Austin, but he is a wonderfully talented, bright, and upcoming conductor, and I just heard from our concertmaster Jay Cosmos Lee, who's up in New Hampshire for a summer music event, and he said Farhad was there, and they've been getting along famously already talking. So we're excited about having him kick off the season this year. Speaking of Jay, Jay has agreed to actually lead our November program. So it will be a unconducted, led by our famous concertmaster Jay Cosmos Lee. We have Byron Stripling doing our Pops concert kicking off in October, and we have our very own Joe Marcio, who's going to lead the holiday show in December. As you know, he conducts a few pieces every year. He works at every concert. Everybody sees him. He does wonderful pre-concert lectures, and he's a great conductor of the Chatham Chorale. So having him lead a very, back home on Cape traditional holiday concert is going to be our goal this year. And They'll have to have me back to talk about the rest of the season.
And we will. Looking forward to seeing getting some of these people maybe in the studio as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So as well, we are going to be highlighting some of the stuff that's going on before Jung-Ho is leaving. We have some of the most immediate thing, of course, is the 4th of July concert. That's correct. New as of last year, though you've done various holiday things before, initiatives. Do you mind giving us a general review of how last year went, some changes you've made before this current upcoming one, and what we can expect for this season's 4th of July July then?
Yeah, well, this really began in earnest as our conversations with the town on another topic, mostly revolved around the much ballyhooed new building that we always talk about. But we were talking about, I remember Mark Ells made a statement one time in a meeting with Matt Levesque and our board chair Ellen Dickinson about we should have the symphony do concerts here, and we said, okay, well, let's do it. And so the town came forward, and thanks to Mark's leadership and guidance and Matt's support, they helped us with a big chunk of the funding to put this show on. So it's a free concert for the 4th of July. And we worked really hard last year to get it together, and we really only had it come together about 6 days before where we could actually announce it. But we had a couple thousand people show up at the end of a wonderful day, and Jung-Ho led us in a wonderfully beautiful, patriotic, with wonderful, pops concert, and it was a smashing success. Everybody was very much, excited. We have to make this an annual tradition. So the town is making us an annual tradition, and special support with Cape Cod 5, our season sponsor. Cape Cod Healthcare is supporting us this year, and always the Musicians Performance Trust Fund, who've come help with costs as well. Are helping to make this sort of a free concert, but solidifying this to become an annual tradition. So we expect to be here at the 4th of July every year moving forward, and we are excited. I know that the Main Street under Elizabeth Worfbane, the business district, they do long table the week before. And so Jung-Ho was actually our co-marshal at the long table with Elizabeth. And that sort of leads off a whole week of fun activities that takes us to the 4th of July. So Joy4July will be everywhere. And so we're very excited about it.
It is awesome. We actually recently just had Elizabeth Worfbane in the studio.
Oh, she's a hoot, isn't she?
It was a lovely conversation, but she was very...
Love her energy.
Very excited for talking about looking forward to this event that's upcoming, the Long Table straight to the 4th of July concert. As well, this is, not to get too somber, but we do have the COVID-19 pandemic that is most of the peak is now behind us. The official emergencies are over. So it's interesting to see that we have COVID kind of mostly the bulk being pushed back now, and then we go and have these 4th of July concerts. It almost seems like a lovely way to celebrate being able to get back out.
Absolutely. And it's, it does seem, I arrived here 3 days into the pandemic, so I feel like I've been walking away from the pandemic ever since. And it is now in the distance, but we do know that it's still there. But it's an outdoor concert, and
of course,
that allows us with a lot of opportunity to be as collective as everybody seems to be in the community is right now. It doesn't seem to be rummaging through the community as much as it was this time last year.
Excellent. So that as well, that's the 4th of July concert, and we also have upcoming, we have Star Wars.
Star Wars, yes.
That's exciting. A lot of nice pop culture involved here as well. Can you elaborate more on what people can expect?
Yeah, well, this is one of Jung-Ho's personal projects. He wanted to do this very much, and, going through it's not just any conductor can do Star Wars. You have to be approved by Disney to do Star Wars, and he went through the approval process, and he, made a very compelling case. It was one of those things where it's not cheap to do this, and to do it with the technology that's necessary, having the right screen, the right technology. And we did test run this with a concert last season to see if it was possible, and we learned that it was possible. So we've decided, and again, I can't stress enough how Jung-Ho made a very impassioned plea. Here's why we have to do this. And I will be honest, skeptical at first, because when I saw the numbers as a nonprofit trying to keep an institution alive in a very much difficult economy, I trusted him, and I believe in what he thought. And honestly, as the concert sales have begun, it's selling fast, and we're already doing quite well. So if you want to get tickets, you got to get them quickly, because it's selling out. And I believe we have the 501st Regiment who's going to be there working with us as well. Which is one of the many Star Wars character regiments that travels around.
They make the costumes.
They make
as well.
Yeah, they do. It's really fun. I have a former graduate student when I was teaching at Montclair that is a part of that regiment, and it's the same group, and they do the whole New England area. But they're spot on. They come prepared, so
make you feel like you're in the movie.
Make you feel like in the movie, right? So this is going to be a treat for anybody, to seeing a live. Such a wonderful, important movie, but with a live orchestra, and it's a large John Williams live orchestra. So it's this is something you can't miss. Yeah, this is a good opportunity.
Now, I don't mean to get I don't know if the House of Mouse is breathing down your neck or anything. I'd hate to put you in the hot seat, but what are some of the requirements that they have? Is it more of a quality thing where they don't want to license out the film or allow you to make sure that it's to diminish the quality of the
Yeah,
music?
it is. There's an expectation they have, and the Cape Symphony is a quality organization right here in our own Cape Cod, and so we met all of the criteria, and it's for us, I think it was about. A lot of times when orchestras do this, they're at outdoor amphitheaters with big TVs and can bring in 15,000 people. We're just doing 2 shows in, our normal venue at the Barnstable Performing Arts Center at Barnstable High School. And the Disney was willing to work with us. Like, let's change the thresholds and let's make this a viable option to bring to Cape Cod, one of the most iconic films in our history. So I thank Disney and Emily Yoon, who worked very closely with our production team to put all the things in play together to make this a reality. So, very excited.
It is very interesting. John Williams is a pretty famous American composer at this point. A lot of modern-day popular culture is attributed to him, especially between Jaws and Star Wars
Yeah,
and
that's
Indiana
right.
Jones.
Yeah,
So it's
didn't he
interesting.
conduct somewhere locally too?
The references there are
Yeah.
deep, and it definitely goes to show the
Yeah.
level of quality the
Yeah.
Cape Symphony provides. So we have the performance at the National Seashore as well. That's going to be down by my neck of the woods. I'm from Eastham, so it's interesting to see such a large production essentially down by there. Can you elaborate more?
Yeah, that's on August 24th, and this is a great way for us to kind of close off the summer. The National Seashore is one of the wonderful parks services that makes Cape Cod unique beyond all the other wonderful things we have here. And it is talking with Daniel Blankenship, who is our liaise with the seashore. He was saying today that how the Salt Pond is unique in its park, that it doesn't have like an entrance where you like go through an entrance and you become into the park, like, wow, you're like in the park. But this is a place where it has multiple, but he mentioned it today, it was community driven. It's like, this is a community park, and it feels so much because it connects 6 of the neighboring towns and they're all part of that community. So the fact that the Cape Symphony, and we've been spending years talking about how we're an organization that's here for our community. We want to be inclusive, we want to be a part of it, we want to interact with it, we want to give and take with it. And so the fact that we get to be a part of the community of the seashore and all those 6 communities out on Eastham is one of those things that we're thankful to have the opportunity, and that's a great way for us to be closing our season off in the summer. And we get to do this every year anyway, so it's one other one we hope to continue as we continue these 3 concerts every summer. We hope to continue to do more. One of the things we're looking forward is trying to break the orchestra into smaller chamber groups and actually move them throughout different out to the Cape. We've got requests to be in Falmouth. We've got requests to be in Chatham. We've got requests to be in Provincetown and even on Martha Vineyards in Nantucket. So we have our work cut out from us to do everything we can to try to get into all 15 communities in any capacity we do. And we don't want to just be a one and done. We want to be a constant presence in and out every year. So there's an expectation and an anticipation and a part of us not only being who we are, but adapting to the needs and the wonderful things that our community brings. So.
It is very interesting. It bears to mind comments that Elizabeth Wolfbane made last with us. She was talking about the idea of trying to enforce not just that, come to Cape Cod for the summer season, and then it's done. We shut down the Cape, and it's all over. Once it's September, it's all gone. So it is interesting that you're also emphasizing this need for more year-round presence.
Right.
We certainly have a much larger year-round population on Cape Cod than we did before COVID-19. There's a lot more year-round now, so it is interesting to know that there's a lot more stretch there, too.
Well, the symphony's involved, as many of you may or may not know, the Chamber of Commerce here with Paul Nitzwecki is putting forth a second summer cycle event, and it is a bike ride in September 17th to highlight a lot of the local nonprofits, and the Cape Symphony being one of the beneficiaries. So we are putting together a riding team. So if anybody out there wants to join the Cape Symphony riding team, please by all means reach out, and you can sign up through the Chamber's website. But I think the important thing is it shows that like even in September and October, second summer, which is the summer for all of the Cape Cod residents, but it's still an active time for us to really enjoy being here. And for those of us that live here year-round, that, the symphony functions year-round, not only just in concert performances, but in education, in community partnerships. This is just one of those things where it's a 12-month job, and we want to be a 12-month organization.
Mm-hmm. Right. We mentioned a little bit off camera as well, and I'm afraid we're about out of time, so we can't really elaborate more further. But I did want to ask more about, you do provide a lot of things from lessons to other performances, helping out other organizations that provide arts and entertainment. So it's a very plugged-in organization, not just the few shows and then done.
Yeah. We try to work closely with everybody, and we've been branching out to a lot of our local business partners and trying to find opportunities to work closely with them, and we can go into a lot more detail in future conversations. I'd love to talk about that. But as well as the education, our youth orchestra is growing. We have a 100% retention rate. I was really surprised when I heard that from Kyle Spraker, who manages the youth orchestra. It's a 100% retention rate from season to season, and that's fantastic. Our dance company has been growing year after year. The preschool continues to thrive with a Suzuki and arts-infused education program. So it's, and we can still get lessons from young to adult. Our wellness programs with Nick Suchecki, Mind, Body, Music has been growing, and it's a great time to be here. So much to do with the symphony. So much to do.
Now, before we do, I have to wrap up soon, unfortunately, but just
That's
to make
okay.
sure, we still have our December concerts ongoing, the traditional holidays and all that. Everything is still continuing for the rest of the year. You've got everything lined up with either guest composers or, guest conductors.
Yeah.
Guest composers too, potentially, but at any rate, but it's all going to be a regular full schedule for the Cape Symphony.
That's correct.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on while I still have you in the studio with us today?
No, I just want to thank you, Grady, for taking the time, and I want to thank all those out there in our community for all the wonderful things you do to support the symphony. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't without your contributions. So thank you for all you do, Cape Cod.
All right, thank you so much again for joining us for this conversation. Looking forward to having you again in soon.
All right, thanks, Grady.
I'm Grady Culhane, and this has been Sunday Journal. Please enjoy your day.
Hey, you too. Thanks.